People often ask me where to buy yerba mate and recommendations, and I'd suggest going to supporting a local store or a small business if possible. However, if you're living somewhere where you can't, like I once was, and they just don't offer the yerba that you want, check out Pampa Direct. They have the largest supply of yerba mate that I've seen, and I've learned and tried so many from them before that I've never seen anywhere else. But not only yerba, they also have dulce de leche, alfajores, shirts like jerseys, games and snacks like chocolinas, which is one of my wife's favorite cookies. And I found some really great recommendations on there for beginners, such as Don Eregi, which is something I learned about by just trying different stuff there. And also some of my personal favorites, which is Pipore and Aguantadora Despalada. They have great customer service that speaks English, and in fact, they shipped me another package of yerba for free after they had mixed up one of my orders. And they always include like little, extras, like little candies and stuff, which is really nice. And they ship anywhere in the world, and they offer free shipping here in the U.S. with an order of $50 or more. That may change depending on your country. And as a sponsor of the show, they offer 10% off on your first order with the code POWER. Go to yerbamatepower.com/pampa to place an order. Again, that's yerbamatepower.com/pampa. P-A-M-P-A. Pampa. Thanks.
Welcome to the Yerba Power Podcast, where we share the power of yerba mate with the world. Introducing your host, Devin.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome, Materos, to the Yerba Power Podcast. I'm Devin. I'm glad you could join me today. And wherever you're at and wherever you're listening to this, I just want to thank you for listening. If you haven't already subscribed to this podcast, do me a huge favor and click subscribe. Not only does that let me know that I have an audience out there that are listening that want more content, but it also helps me support you guys. Do me a huge favor and click subscribe. So without further ado, today I want to talk about gourds. So what is a gourd? Why do you use it? What kind of different types are there? There's lots of questions about this, like how do I drink yerba mate the traditional way? Well, today I'm going to answer those questions for you. So first, what is a gourd? So in the traditional sense of drinking yerba mate, the gourd is the wooden, cup that you drink out of, and that's made out of the tree itself for the same yerba mate. So the cool thing about that is the experience. They also, look pretty cool as far as, have different styles and designs, and also it's unique because it's, carved out of wood. So it's also got a, kind of unique smell. So a different experience drinking out of a traditional wooden gourd. So the downsides, though, to that is you have to cure it, is what it's called. So that is the process of essentially cleaning it out and preventing it from cracking or getting holes in it. Because if you don't cure your mate, which is the gourd itself, when we refer to mate, that's the gourd. Yerba mate, of course, is the leaves that we drink in the mate. So when you cure that mate, to keep it from cracking, if you don't cure it, the hot water will seep and it'll expand the wood and it'll crack or get holes in it, or basically you won't be able to use it, right? So we don't want that to happen on your first time and not being able to use it. And so what you do to cure it is essentially, easiest way I know is putting used yerba, in other words, yerba that you've already drank from maybe another gourd, or maybe just put it in a cup and soak it and drink it that way. But you put that used yerba in your new mate, wooden mate, and you just let it sit. And you put some water in there as well, but it absorbs the water and the mate. I don't know the whole science behind it, but it absorbs into the wood and therefore kind of like insulating it. Then you clean it out and let it dry, and then your mate is cured. However, to explain all that and show you a video on that and everything, it's kind of complicated for your first time. So that's why I usually give this advice to beginners as far as getting a wooden one, although it is, cool and different experience and unique and traditional. It's usually difficult to get started that way because number one, you got to cure it. Number two, you got to always keep it clean or else it'll get mold when you drink out of it, daily. So that's why I usually tell people to get either a stainless steel or silicone or plastic or glass mate for your first one. Stainless steel probably being number one because of the being stainless, but also easy to clean, easy to manage. Just wash it like any other cup. Glass, maybe my second because of the same reasons. However, glass is obviously more fragile than stainless steel. So I have one that's, like stainless steel, basically like a thermos cup that, if I've dropped it already and, nothing happens versus my glass one, I dropped that, it could break. So therefore it's more portable that way. Silicone or plastic or whatever, probably being third, just because it doesn't keep the heat as well. Also plastics, as we all know, is kind of, can be toxic and other things that you kind of want to be aware of there that you're drinking out of. So I would say stainless steel or glass, whichever your preference, but stainless steel is probably number one. And nowadays, thanks to, mass production and things, those are really easy to get. And they're actually usually pretty cheap that way as well, to get online on Amazon or a variety of different providers that sell mates. Balabatov is one that I actually have that I know of that sells here in the U.S. Calmate is another one that they sell here in the U.S. You can find them on their websites or on Amazon as well. So another thing about those stainless steel, when I say easy to clean, is you literally just wipe out the used yerba and wash it out real quick and you're good to go the next day. Versus the traditional one where you have to let it air dry and everything. So glass is also good, as far as I like it for one, my personal one that I have, because I can see kind of the whole process. It doesn't have a cover around it. However, other ones that I've had before have like a leather covering around the mate, the glass on the inside. Same thing, is easy to clean out. You just wipe it out and you're good to go. However, the only downside really there is just fragile, right? And then silicone or plastic gourd, probably being the next one. Same thing as far as being easy to clean. I've seen ones that are kind of collapsible or flexible. So there's the kind of bonus there with the silicone one that you can like basically pack it in a bag or whatever. So that's another bonus that I would see as far as these, like the material that gourds are made out of. So the other thing about a gourd or a mate is the, not just what it's made out of, but I guess the style. So there's different, I guess sizes is maybe a better description. So you have kind of a more personalized, smaller traditional style. And then there's the bigger ones like the Imperial and the Camionero that are kind of bigger mates to drink out of. They're the kind of the trending thing on Instagram. They do look cool, but they're, bigger also the idea would be there to share more, but, also more for yourself, I guess, too. So they're different shapes. Torpedo as well as another shape. And that's just basically the way it looks, size-wise and the way it's formed. It doesn't have anything to do with the technique or style or way of drinking it. It's just the way it looks. And that's the other cool thing about mate is you can get it as personalized as you want. It's kind of like everyone has their own coffee cup that they drink out of that has maybe a cool phrase on it that they like. I personally have one that I drink out of pretty much every day is stainless steel, because I mentioned before, easy to clean. I have another one that's a imperial that is just very nice and fancy looking. It's leather wrapped. It's, got kind of some etching on the side and the metal rim, and it just looks cool. Got another one that is traditional, that has my very first one I ever got, and has a horse etched in it. And it's just, I guess, nostalgia there of my first one, but it's also, the traditional one, as well as another traditional one that I have that's the leather hide wrapped around it. And that one's kind of, I don't know, aesthetic appealing as well. So there's different things too. It's the whole experience of like holding it and, seeing it as well. It's kind of like, like I said, picking your own coffee cup that you drink out of, that's something that's kind of unique and personal to you. And the cool thing is you can have multiple, right? And you can have different ones for different situations. You don't have to have just one, but, if I was going to make you decide on just one, I'd pick the one that you would be more comfortable with every day. And for a beginner, I would say probably the stainless steel, right? And then as far as other things, personalizing those, I've seen a lot of people nowadays that are putting little like symbols on their mates, having them, etched personally, laser engraved, with maybe a phrase or their last name, or maybe their favorite team, or maybe their anniversary dates or birth dates on there. I know there's a famous one, for Lionel Messi, of he has his son's name on his mate. There's another one that someone did for him, the bombilla. They personalized it with the 3 stars, that because of winning the World Cup now, 3 stars on the jersey. So other things there you can do as far as personalization of your mate. And nowadays there's everything on the internet, so you can get as many as you want. There's another Instagram account that I follow, Perseguidor de Mates, I believe is a person in Spain, that he has a bunch of unique, or he or she, that person has a bunch of unique mates that I've never seen before, made out of different materials that are pretty cool. So, wherever you find those are personal preferences. And so there's really no wrong way. And I think that's another thing, is that you don't have to have a traditional gourd, or really any gourd at all, to enjoy mate. You can drink it out of a coffee cup or a teacup. In fact, I have a Turkish teacup that I use for drinking mate every once in a while. So you don't really need a traditional gourd. The only thing that you really need is yerba, water, and a bombilla. And if you want to drink it that way, in fact, you don't even need a bombilla if you want to make mate cocido, which is basically like steeped, like a tea, just like you would brew or steep any other tea. As far as like in a tea bag or through a filter, it's the same way as what it is drinking any other tea. So I know that maybe traditionalists and people might hate me for saying that, but in fact, the way you enjoy it, it's a personal experience. It's not, you have to do it a certain way. However, it's a shared experience. So if you are sharing it with someone else, as long as it is an enjoyable experience for everyone, then there you go. That's all you need to be concerned about, is the cebador. So I hope that helped give you a little bit of confidence in knowing what kind of mate you want, or if you're just getting started, maybe where to start. Also the different styles and types of gourds that you can get out there. And if you have any questions about this, you can look me up on Instagram at Yerba Mate Power on Instagram, and you can see a couple of different mates that I have there, as well as some recommendations that I've posted links to. And if you don't already follow me or know about me, then you can go check out more of my stuff there at Yerba Mate Power on Instagram. And I try to give you guys valuable content, answering some of these questions. So I would appreciate, checking me out there and let me know, what maybe you want to hear more about or have questions about. I'm glad to help anyone and everyone enjoy the power of Yerba Mate, because I know that it's helped me connect with all of you guys, and it's brought a lot of sense of community, something I'm very passionate about. And that's why I've even started this whole podcast in the first place. So I would love to help you out there. And if you are just now listening and hearing more, I plan to post more episodes bi-weekly, so every other week for a while I'm getting started, and then maybe later posting weekly. I appreciate you guys for listening. If you haven't already subscribed, do me a favor and subscribe. And until next time, cheers.